welcome back to the channel. I'm up here on Lake Champlain with Pro Staff Director from Old Town, Dan Fetch. We are headed out in the Autopilots, going to try to catch some lake trout on the jigs. We got a little bit of wind, but it's doable. We got a little bit of a ride ahead of us. That's doable. Got some things to do on the way out, so that's good. Drink some coffee, tie up some lures, and hopefully we're going to catch some big lake trout. That's what we're after. Anyway, hope you enjoy this episode. Stay tuned because I am going to try to cover as many of the techniques that I use as I can. I forgot the head strap for my GoPro, so it's going to be positioned a little bit away from me. If the audio isn't great, I'll do the best I can with it in post. I apologize if it's not amazing. But time will tell. If you're watching this, I was able to do something with it. So hope you enjoy. Hit that subscribe button. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Thanks. Come on. Fish on, fish on. Yeah, I switched from the Elias to the purple ones that I use for stripers, and right away, boom. So I brought plenty if you need them.
Yeah, that's what I'm jigging right now.
I was just casting it out and just bouncing it along the bottom. Just hammered it as soon as I started moving it.
Really?
I couldn't get one to react to the jig. This makes me giddy. I don't know if I hooked this fish funny or what. It's kind of, I don't know. It doesn't feel super heavy, but it's fight. Yeah, I think I foul hooked it. Yep. Hooked it in the tail.
Oh yeah.
Poor thing. Compared to one at the Saki, it's a good fish. of me right now. Well, I'm just getting out to where we did really well at the end of the morning yesterday. And I see some suspended fish down here, so I'm going to drop a nervous minnow down, see if they'll react. Dan did really well with the nervous minnow yesterday. I caught most of my fish on the shad. I got a few on the nervous minnow. So I'm going to drop down and see if I can get these suspended fish. Generally, when I'm lake trout fishing, I'll fish the suspended fish. I will fish the nervous minnow for suspended fish, and I will fish a shad if they're holding tight to the bottom. Sometimes I'll hit them with the nervous minnow too. You can kind of wake them up and get them to come up off bottom. Boy, we've been working our tails off for fish today. Got one earlier off camera. Finally, just had some active fish moving underneath me. This one hit. Feels pretty decent. It's not huge, I don't think, but I guess we're about to find out. Try to come around this side because where it seems to want to go. It's not a huge fish, but it's a fish nonetheless. It's a good one. I guess it's all relative, depends on what you're used to catching. If you come from Lake Winnipesaukee, where we catch 3-pound lake trout all day long, you come up here and you're hooking 5 to 15-pound lake trout. It's a pretty good deal. Yeah, this is probably a 5-pounder, I'm guessing. 5 or 6. Oh, it's a nice one. Definitely nice healthy looking fish. I don't think there are any lamprey marks on this one. Man, danger of losing that fish. Easily 6 pounds, heavy. So the first thing that I do whenever I go lake trout fishing, if I don't know the body of water, is I scout out my areas on a lake map, a chart, a paper chart, online. I use the Navionics. I have a chip in my Humminbird. I have the app on my phone. You can go on navionics.com or just Google Navionics web app, and you can look at the Navionics charts online for free. Do all kinds of scouting on your computer, on your phone, whatever, without buying the app. The app is $15 to $20 a year and gives you constant updated maps from a lot of water bodies. I think it's well worth it. I pay it, and I have a subscription for my chip to upgrade my chip every year, update it on a regular basis. And when I'm lake trout fishing, I'm looking for humps, drop-offs, reefs, ledges, things like that. Breaks, humps. When lake trout feed, they cruise up and down these humps and drop-offs and ledges, inside turns that come in sharp, and they cruise in and out, up and down those humps and those drop-offs all day long sometimes while they're feeding, looking for food. So that's where I go. I start there. Now, how deep depends on the water body and the time of year. Late summer, like now, it's 90 to 150 feet of water. It really depends on the water body. On Lake Champlain, fishing in 90, I'm in 85 feet of water right now. So I've caught fish in as shallow as 75 feet of water on Lake Champlain, and as deep as 135 feet yesterday. On Lake Winnipesaukee, I go right for the deeper water. Anything over 100 feet in August and September on Lake Winnipesaukee should hold fish. And look for that deep sunken structure, deep drop-offs, deep humps that come up out of really deep water, especially deep adjacent to deeper water. So this particular reef that I'm on now is adjacent to 300 feet of water on one side and 200 feet on the other side. And so there's lots of access, you know, to a lot of fish to get in here and search for food. So that's the first thing I do, is identify where I'm going to fish. And that can be the daunting task if you've never fished a particular water body, because you don't know. Are they in 150 feet of water in this lake, or are they in, 85 feet of water in this lake, 95 feet of water in this lake? I know the general starting point for a lot of people that fish Lake Champlain is 90, 95 feet. That's their target depth. And then they'll fluctuate shallower or deeper based on where the fish are. It's going to take a little bit of searching. So I have looked for, when I'm looking for new spots on new lakes like Champlain or even Winnipesaukee, I've spent the first 3 hours of the trip looking for fish, just looking for fish, looking for the areas that they feed in. So looking for those humps and those break lines, drop-offs, steep inside turns, things like that. That's the first thing you want to do, is identify where you're going to go. Another important part of locating key areas for lake trout is considering the vessel that you're fishing in. When you're kayak fishing, you want to find the best places closest to the launch that you're going to use, or find a launch that's close to some good grounds. I have some places on Lake Champlain that I fish that are 4 miles from the ramp where I launch my boat. I'm not going to fish those areas in a kayak, more than likely. I have some places on Winnipesaukee that are 3 miles. Take me 30-40 minutes to get out there. 9 times out of 10 I'll just take my boat. But there are places such as this one that are a mile from the ramp where I can get to good access. So finding appropriate structure that should hold fish close to where you're going to be launching is a key to kayak fishing for lake trout. And Dan and I have been working our tails off trying to get the few fish that we got, or that I got. Still trying to get Dan one. But we're just moving around up on this reef, following the fish around, trying to hook the hungry ones, or hook the dumb ones. I just got another one here. Doesn't feel like a real big one, probably 5 pounds. But I'll take it. There's some active fish on the screen right now. This reef that we're on just looks way too good not to be loaded with lake trout. I don't know if it was all the bait that was here when we first got out here, but man, they wanted nothing to do with us. It wasn't until about 9 a.m. that we started getting some more active fish. Still looking for that double-digit one though. This one I don't think is it. Pretty sure it's not. I had one I thought was that 10-pounder and turned out to be hooked in the side. Bringing him up sideways. I'm struggling with interference all of a sudden on my fish finder. Don't know what that's. Some wires must be touching somewhere. Maybe the heat softening the wires. I'm not really sure. But I'm getting all kinds of interference from my trolling motor. This fish is not very happy. And I can't say that I blame it. color. Looks like a good sized fish. It's a nice one. Some length to it. Oh, you stay on there. Oh geez, this is a bigger fish than I thought. Holy crap. This is a freaking beast. It's a much bigger fish than I realized. Really nice fish. Jeez. Holy crap. And that hook remover that you see on my de-hooker that you see on all my videos, I'll tell you what. That thing is worth its weight in gold. I forgot it in my truck, so I know just what it's worth today. Pig. You ready?
Yep.
Take these gloves off. No idea how big it was until I saw it.
Really?
Yeah.
Marking a bunch up there over here.
Any more than I already have.
Nice.
Bleeding out the top of his head pretty good.
What's that?
It's bleeding out of the top of its head pretty good. Oh, there it is.
Big.
Good one. Lure selection for jigging lake trout varies almost as much as it does for bass fishing. It's so dependent on so many things. Angler preference, water body. Some lures work better in some waters based on forage or light, penetration, water clarity and quality. Angler preference, a lot of factors that go into it. I guarantee you ask any lake trout angler what their favorite jigging lure is and you're going to get multiple answers. My favorites are my signature series Nervous Minnow. You ask anybody that has jigged lake trout with this lure and they'll tell you that it works phenomenally. It is an amazing lake trout jig. I don't say that because it's my signature series lure. I don't make any money off the sale of these lures, so keep that in mind. They just work. They work really well. And I also love to fish soft plastics, shads, big hoagies, things like that right on the bottom. Cast them out and retrieve them across the bottom. Those are my two preferences. Those are my personal favorites. When the fish are suspended off bottom, actively chasing bait, my go-to is a Nervous Minnow, by far. If they're holding tight to the bottom and they're not actively chasing bait, I will throw a shad or a hoagie, some big soft plastic on the bottom and just twitch it back, jig it back and work it back to the boat on the bottom. Those are my two favorites.
On.
Nice. Dan's on. And my battery's about to die. Dan's hooked up. Bent rod. Big fish. Let me know if you need my big net. I can see the bubbles coming up underneath my kayak. Fish must have been over here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Boy, 117 feet of water.
Mark this spot.
All kinds of bubbles coming up. Bubbles from Dan's fish. Blue 1.4 nervous minnow. Don't see any color yet. Oh, I got bubbles coming up right here. Your fish is under my kayak.
Still 70 feet down.
Jeez. I'm gonna pause this for a sec. Okay, we're back with Dan and his pig lake trout on nervous minnow, Lake Champlain, flat calm conditions. Here I was worried yesterday we were gonna get blown out. Thought we'd end up fishing for smallies all day because we couldn't come out onto open water, but that is not the case. More bubbles coming up. Yep. I don't know if you can see that, but I can. Boy, there's a huge school of bait down here, huh?
Yeah.
You can see fish in the bottom of it. Oh my God, you're gonna need my net. I gotta put my phone away. I gotta net this fish for Dan. Okay. Video. Here we go. Dan's letting her go. Looks like it's in good health. Gills are moving, fins are up. Looks good.
All right, buddy.
There it goes.
There it goes.
Nice.
Oh, all right.
Well done, sir. So, like I said, fish picked the winners. Last two fish I've hooked have been on a slow retrieve off the bottom. I'll get it up about 50 feet. If I don't hit a hit, I'll just let it fall right back to the bottom and then slow retrieve up off the bottom. About the same size as the last one. I think he just saw my kayak. Oh, he's burping. Burp it out, baby, burp it out. Nice one. A little bigger than the last one, I'd say. Yep. Funny, some of them just don't fight. I don't know if he's full and lazy or what, but much fight in it. And oh, look at that. Shad just fell out of its mouth. Decent fish. Full of energy. Yeah. Hear that? Salmonids are some of the only freshwater fish that can burp air out of their swim bladder. That's a good thing. You want them to burp it out so they can go back down. Good. That's a good sign. If they get too full, they can't go back down. So it's good to feel them burping it out. Hear them burping it out. You'll see them burp out a lot as you retrieve them. Dan's gonna take a picture. Stay here.
Good.
Lure color is a very, very important aspect of deep water jigging. Certain colors disappear as they fall into the water column. Some colors disappear first. The longer the wave, the color wave, or the bands, the quicker they disappear. So red is the first color to disappear in the water column. Green, reds, pinks, oranges, then greens, then blues, then purples. So they say over 90 feet of water, the only color that shows up is blue, purple, and then below that, deeper than that, is UV. So I use a lot of purples and a lot of blues. Now, just because they can't see the color, people mistaken that for not being able to see the lure. They can still see the lure, they can still sense the vibration, but it won't show up as well in deep water. So I use a lot of purples and blues, sometimes green, but for the most part, when I'm fishing in over 80-85 feet of water, I'm going to be fishing with a blue or a purple lure, which is why these purple shads work really well. Sometimes I'll take white Storm Wild Eye swim shads, take a blue Sharpie or a dye pen and paint the back of it blue, the top half of it, and color it blue so it shows up a little better down there. Or the blue Nervous Minnow is definitely my favorite color for deep water lake trout jigging. I give 1 or 2 vertical jigging seminars every summer. They're very popular in my area. I do a lot of vertical jigging and I give a lot of seminars on it. And one of the most popular questions at my vertical jigging seminars is, what jigging cadence should I use? And that's a very loaded question because it depends on a lot of factors. Just like lure choice depends on a lot of factors, jigging cadence depends on what the fish are feeding on, the mood of the fish. You really gotta have a relationship with your fish finder so you can kind of identify, the behavior of the fish. Are they actively feeding? Are they really hungry? Or are they just kind of cruising around? The jigging cadence also depends on what lure you're using, but every lure has many, many different cadences. When I was a kid, my dad used to tell me, he'd say, Timmy, let the fish pick. He'd say, the fish pick the winners. Let the fish pick and tell you what they want. They'll let you know. And what he meant was, don't do the same thing the whole time I'm out there. Just because a particular cadence worked one day doesn't mean it's going to work the next. It may not always work. And the only time you'll ever see me doing the same thing over and over and over again is when it's working that day. Now I have base cadences that I go to with the Nervous Minnow. I rip it up fast and lower it down slow. I don't let it free fall. 1, because it has a tendency to foul, and 2, because they hit it on the drop and I can feel that when they hit it, the weight will come off the jig. So up fast, down slow, bounce, 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 up fast, down slow, bounce, 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 bounce. That's kind of my go-to base cadence for the Nervous Minnow. But some days that doesn't work and you have to mix it up and up quick and lower it down a couple times, pauses. You just gotta have to mix it up. And when you find out what triggers the fish, what that triggering factor of every lure has a triggering factor. And that triggering factor will change based on the behavior of the fish, and which changes in the location, on the day, the light conditions, water conditions, temperature. That all changes daily. So you really want to mix it up. Spoons, if you jig spoons, a lot of people like to jig spoons. You can just rip them up and let them fall, free fall. That's what they're designed to do. Works really well when you drifting with spoons. I don't drift very much just because of scoping, jig scoping. I don't lure scoping. The lure will scope out. If you have braids, sometimes you get an arc in the line, and you can lose some sensitivity and hook setting power, and you don't feel as many of those bites. So I don't drift as much. Oh, there's one just hit it on the way up. I'm on. Nice. So with the shad, I'm fishing the shad now. I was just twitching that across the bottom. There was a fish down here. Again, my relationship to my fish finder. The fish was down there. I kept it coming in a couple of times. The jig got right underneath the kayak, was just kind of bouncing on the bottom, but he wouldn't hit it. So I reeled up a few cranks and then started going slow, and it hit. It's not a very big fish, but it's all about figuring out what that triggering factor is going to be for that day. And every lure is going to be a little bit different. Yeah, this isn't a huge fish, but I'll take it. It's been another slow start. And hopefully we can figure out their triggering factor today before we have to leave. Decent fish. If this was Lake Winnipesaukee, I'd be very, very happy with that fish. About it. Forgot my hook remover yesterday. I was struggling without it. So today I think I'll just throw it in the water. Poor thing going right through the nose. So Dan and I are both hooked up at the same time now. Mine is not a giant. Dan's looks pretty big. His rod's bent pretty good, and his rod tip keeps getting pulled down to the water line. I don't think mine is huge. In fact, I know it's not huge, but it's bigger than I thought it was. It picked my lure up off the bottom and swam right at me with it. And it's decent, but it's not a giant. Dan's looks pretty big. Yeah, his rod just got pulled down into the water, front tip of his rod. It's no slouch. It's bigger than I thought. It's a lot bigger than I thought. Not a giant, but it's a good fish. Let's see if I can't. Wow. Hook just fell out of its mouth. see if we can't get a picture of this double. Dan's got a nice fish too.
The net. I could feel it like
Is it as big as the last one?
similar length, but it feels a lot heavier. I'm also probably just a lot more tired. I wrapped it now, so I had to cut the line.
Nice. That thing is.
Oh yeah.
I want to throw mine back. It's about to hit you. Mine's so slow. Yours is big. Good fish on here, guys, and there's a ton of fish on the bottom now, really active. I don't know, it's a late morning bite here the last couple days. We'll take it. This might be one of the better fish for me of the trip. I'm having a hard time even getting it off. It's down 60 feet. I'm having trouble gaining on it. Down 45 feet. Don't see any color yet. Oh, there's some color. Yeah, nice fish. I don't think it'll be my biggest of the trip, but it's a good one. Oh, it's pretty close. It's a pretty big fish. Oh, yeah. Nice. Hello. Inhaled that shad. Don't do that. There we go.
Get on the other side of you for better light.
Boy, this thing had a huge lamprey on it. It's got a massive scar. nice one. Probably 7 pounds. Bye-bye. Well, that is a wrap for this one. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. I know we enjoyed filming it. Dan and I had a great time. We caught a lot of really nice fish and tried to cover as many tips as I could. If you have any more questions, leave them in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them as soon as I can. And hit that subscribe button. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you.